Yep. Okay, go grab your stick. Don't run too hard, it's hot out. Okay, so current temperature right now about 80 or 79 Fahrenheit for you Yanks, and 25 degrees for us Canucks. So it's pretty warm, pretty toasty. And I'm going to do my weather shaman thing that I do a couple of times a year, usually once in the spring, once in the fall, to kind of predict what kind of winter we're going to have. Now, I'm usually pretty good. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I'm pretty good. So it varies. But most of the time I call it pretty close. So what are we going to expect for the winter of 2015-2016? If I could show you, I don't know if I can show you or not, but for a guy who spends a lot of time outside, maybe not as much as I should, but more than probably most, I learned a few things over the years that I just kind of do. The Farmer's Almanacs I usually find are pretty right. And I wish I would have made this prediction about 2 weeks ago, and the reason why is because of the new information that I got now, which is going to back what I'm saying. I'll explain it the way I'm saying it, so that you can understand how I see it and how I think of it, and how I kind of predicted it. It's not an absolute, but it's a general guideline. Can't find any treetops here. But anyway, well, those treetops over there, you can't really see. They're kind of like a light brownish color on top. There's a few trees like that. It's not from heat. When it's hot and dry, the treetops will dry out, and you'll see that. That's usually from lack of water. But there's another thing that happens, and I'll show you one of my garden leaves, just to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So something that you can look around, and you'll probably see it in your area or whatever. And if you see this, it'll kind of give you an indication of what's kind of going on. But you'll probably see it more in the next maybe week or so from the making of this video. We're now almost in the end of August. But you see like the light color in the leaf here? Okay, number one, there's not enough nutrients. Look at that nice bean. Ooh, nice bean. I'm going to have to pick that. So hopefully I got that in the camera well. The treetops, when they start looking like that, it means two things. Either A, it's real dry. If it's dark brown, it's dry. If it's yellowish, it's because the nutrients is going out of the ground, usually due to a lot of rain. Now, right now the grass is wet, and I got to cut it again. Unless my dog eats it all, I don't know. But she eats everything. She's eating frogs right now. Don't you eat any more? She's crapping. But anyway, what will happen is what goes up must come down. What goes down will go back up. The summer here in Canada has been a wet summer, not a super wet summer, not a complete washout, but it's rained every other day or so. Not the warmest, not the coolest. Right now we're getting, I guess, our second heat wave in August, which is normal, but it's not like the heat wave. Mind you, 2 days ago it was over 40, which is like, ugh. My chainsaw was sweating. I lit a fire, it melted. It was hot. And now, next week we're probably going to be getting cool. Now I also heard somewhere out west they're going to be getting snow next week. Yeah, you heard me. Believe it or not. Now we have to look down south. And down south, what we see is there's going to be known as SNOWZILLA, or the Bruce Lee of El Niños, or the Godzilla of an El Niño. And if you know what an El Niño is, it's the warm waters of, in the Pacific that just, send it. And this thing is supposed to be monsters. Now, we know about the drought going on in California and stuff like that, which some people may argue that it's because the geoengineering is holding back the weather patterns, hence keeping it so dry. You can for sure say that there's been mismanagement of the water with the fracking and other industries that use up more water than, the water table allows. So there's that too. And then, of course, the Midwest is, got a drought. Now, what happens there is you look over there and say, well, it's going to be dry and hot. Now, when we get over to here, because usually the weather patterns come in from like BC towards over here in Quebec, what happens is right now it's really hot and dry there, okay? They haven't been getting a lot of rain, but we've been getting a lot of rain here. We're getting a lot of rain on this side. Now, with that El Nino means it's going to be a warmer than average winter for people on the West Coast, which means people in BC are going to get a lot of rain this winter. Don't plan on doing a lot of skiing in Whistler, you know what I'm saying? But however, when that thing starts blowing this way, that moisture is going to turn into snow. Lots and lots of snow. All that moisture is coming into the east. You know what happens when moisture comes into the east when we're talking like the Arctic, okay? The Arctic is dry cold. It's like walking on star foam up there. I haven't been up there, but everybody I talk to, it's a dry cold. There's like no humidity up there to people, your skin dries, cracks, stuff like that. You get it here too when it gets like really cold, like here in Quebec, like it gets really dry cold, and you can heat your house or whatever. But when it's that damp cold, where there's a lot of moisture in there, it's just you can't. It's just uncomfortable no matter what. A lot of people end up getting pneumonia or whatever. But the thing is because of the El Nino, and I didn't know about this until they came out. They announced it about a week or so ago. But I knew this was coming anyway. It's going to be a record year for snow. Brutal, heavy, wet. Like there was a lot of snow last year. There's no doubt about that. But the 16-foot snowbanks, no problem. Kind of like when I was a kid, 12, 16-foot snowbanks. So that, I know nobody wants to hear that horrible prediction, but yeah, that's what we're getting. It's a natural cycle. Look at all the storms we get. That they're so violent and they're so powerful. It's because when cold air hits hot air, it's that cold air that gives the storm the power. We know this. Global warming, don't buy into that scam. It's a cycle thing. But we also know the sun is in a cooling trend. This has scientifically been proven. And now that the sun's going in, or not a cooling trend, but a less active trend. So that means as the sun is not as active, means less solar rays onto the planet Earth, and less solar rays onto the planet Earth that warm it up means we're going to see a slight cooler trend. That also means powerful storms. So in my area of the country, get your snow shovels ready. I got my roof rake now. I paid $20 for this sucker. I hate snow. Don't get me wrong. I hate snow. I take cold better than heat, but check out this baby. There's like 3 attachments of roof snow killing mayhem right there, and get that. So because if you're in Canada, most of the roofs in Canada are built to a higher standard than a lot of people just south of the border of us. Not all of them, but you're going to have to deal with that heavy wet snow. A roof that size there, or like this, when there's like 3 feet of snow on there and it's wet and heavy, that's like 4 pickup trucks on there. So that's what's above your head. That's why roofs will collapse. So keep them clear. Never mind the driveway. Do the driveway last. That's your least important thing. Roofs first. Roofs first. Roofs first. Protect yourself. Next to that, stock up on stuff that you don't want to be, because when the power goes out, it's going to stay out for weeks. In a lot of areas like here, a 3-week power outage in an ice storm, it was, that's power. So get your generators, get your gasoline ahead of time. The other thing too is that you're going to have to watch out for, again, just the ice storms. I think with the El Nino, what we're going to get is like massive amounts of dumps of snow, and then as soon as we get a mild, because it's always warm spell, cold spell, warm. You get 2 weeks of warm. 2 weeks of cool, 2 weeks of warm, 2 weeks of cool, that kind of thing. It's kind of that pattern that comes in. Usually get a cold front comes in, whatever. But on the heels of the heavy wet snow comes in the ice and the rain and the freezing rain and stuff like that. So it's just going to be it's going to be nasty. It's going to be like, your shovel is going to be like 10 pounds per square inch of snow. It's just, the amount of people are going to die taking heart attacks shoveling this stuff. That's why they put warning labels on freaking shovels. So it may be warm now, but it's not as warm. Again, I was waiting for the second heat wave in August to tell me what to expect. The other thing that tells me things is during the winter, if I see wet, heavy snow, I know that if it's wet, heavy snow pretty much the whole winter and mild temperatures, I know we're usually going to have a very rainy summer, which also leads to drought in other areas because the rain washes away the nutrients of the land. If it rains too much, everything just runs off, and then once that runs off, nothing grows, everything burns, and then you get a drought, right? So scientifically proven, So you watch that. But if I see snow that's really light and puffy and dry, that usually tells me heat wave for the summer. Just things I've noticed over the years. Doesn't mean it's an exact science. It's just things I've noticed. If I see snow devils, like a dust devil, but a snow devil, that usually tells me massively tornado-y. Seasonal, really powerful tornadoes. Very hot, dry, and a lot of tornadoes. And there has been a few tornadoes. I don't know if they're up or down. I don't think they're up, but they are. When they happen, you notice them right away. The wildfire thing out west, due to the dryness, a lot of it does seem to be man. I think there's an arsonist going around, to be honest with you. But that happens out there every year anyway. It just happens to be a bigger year than normal. So you have to keep an eye on that and be safe out there. But that'll also have effects probably on the weather too, because of it'll probably mean a colder, mid-Canada type of thing. You're probably going to get a lot more cold there because, well, you don't have, all that stuff that's burnt, all that, if it keeps burning for another 2 or 3 weeks, when, you know, once we get into September, things are going to start really cooling off at night. Now, if you get rain, not so bad, but if you don't get that rain, it's going to, you know, you're going to cool down even faster. So that'll make it. We'll notice it over here when, again, you guys get a storm in Alberta or Kelowna. A week later, we get it here. You know, like a weather pattern. You know, if it's a big weather, like cold front, low pressure, high pressure, we notice it about a week later. But by the time it gets to us, it kicks us in the freaking nuts. You know what I mean? You know, thanks a lot, guys. So you get the butterfly, we get the lion. You know what I mean? So fair enough, right? But anyway, yeah, that's my prediction. We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, I just had the hunch that this heat wave wasn't going to be the heat wave. Like, it was really hot 2 days ago. It was hot yesterday. Again, my chainsaw was sweating. Cutting my wood pile there. I lit a fire, it melted because it was so hot. I was just sweating like crazy. Today, nice and cool. Week before, very, very moderate. It was like 3 weeks ago, I think, or almost 3 weeks ago, right at around the beginning of August when we got the first heat wave. And it was warm, don't get me wrong, it was warm, but it's that second heat wave that tells me a lot. So, and I know next week the cool front is supposed to come in. So it wasn't the heat wave I was expecting. Now we do see a heat wave in, say, the end of September, which sometimes happens too. Then that might actually switch things to a dry winter, in my prediction. So we'll have to watch. Which a dry winter means cold, but not as much snow. So, but I'm with the amount of rain we got this year, with the El Nino, Godzilla El Nino coming in over the winter. That's pretty much spells disastrous. Massive amounts of wet, heavy snow followed by massive amounts of ice. So it's going to be that kind of a year. So think like 1998 type of, prepare for that. Prepare for that. Ice storm, whatever, hydro out every 15 seconds, that type of thing. I mean, Canadians will deal with it, whatever. The good news about the ice storm is it usually means mild temperature, so most people won't freeze to death. But it also means icy roads, so be careful with that. So that's my weather prediction. We'll have to see. This is why I predict it the way I predict it. I'm using like a... you know, the techniques of the land that were thought to be by my ancestors. Well, actually, not really by my ancestors, but, you know, just from, you know, farmers' almanacs and listen to old timers over the years and being out on the traps. You just become any environment you immerse yourself in, you eventually start to pick up little things. And one of the things I've always noticed is watch the treetops around this time of the year. Lots of moisture, no problem. Actually, too much moisture in a lot of ways. I mean, this grass should be completely dried out by now. This driveway starts over there. You know, it's like there's, for the second year in a row, we've got grass down the center of the road. Now, mind you, my uncle's been planting a bit there, but down the center of the road, it hasn't been like that since 1978. So, yeah, that's telling me there's moisture isn't a problem, which is good. It keeps the dust down. I mean, keeps because we got like beach sand everywhere here, so it's like. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, that's my weather prediction. We'll have to watch, see what happens, what doesn't happen. And, yeah, I do these just more for fun and whatever. So take it with a grain of salt, but I'm predicting, mind you can capitalize on it. Buy yourself a good shovel, a snowblower. You know, get your gas ahead of time. You know, get it while it's cheap and available. And just go around doing people's roofs. Say, okay, you want that roof done? $200. I make $80 a roof. 200. It's not unreasonable, you know. I mean, well, and here's your selling thing. Just what I told you. When the person said, $200 to do that roof, well, sir, that's going to take me a few hours, but that's not what you're really concerned about. Is how much is it going to cost to replace the house? And he goes, what do you mean? I say, well, you see that 4-foot snow on the top of your roof there? When that gets weighed down on a mild day, you've got 5 dump trucks up there. You love your family, or maybe you have them insured. I don't know. Maybe you insure them just in case. But till then, $200. If not, I'll be back. Pay me now. Make the insurance claim later. Up to you. No pressure. You'll get the job. You'll get the job. It works. You just got to know how to sell it. Yeah, your roof's going to collapse in. You got 3 pickup trucks worth of snow up there. So, dump trucks. The bigger the roof, the more weight. So, and just start talking about the lake effect and how it's collapsed. So again, capitalize on that because if you're laid off, people might not be able to pay a lot, but maybe do $15 an hour or whatever. Make money on it. Get yourself the roof rake early. Learn how to use it, but it's you make a killing doing it. I'm telling you from experience. You can make a killing doing it. I'm trying to get out of that kind of work, but yeah, it's there. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please consider making a donation to the channel. Rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Be true to yourself, be true to others. Always do the right thing, and Have yourselves a great day, eh? G'day, hi, and welcome. Yep. Okay, go grab your stick. Don't run too hard, it's hot out. Okay, so current temperature right now about 80 or 79 Fahrenheit for you Yanks, and 25 degrees for us Canucks. So it's pretty warm, pretty toasty. And I'm going to do my weather shaman thing that I do a couple of times a year, usually once in the spring, once in the fall, to kind of predict what kind of winter we're going to have. Now, I'm usually pretty good. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I'm pretty good. So it varies. But most of the time I call it pretty close. So what are we going to expect for the winter of 2015-2016? If I could show you, I don't know if I can show you or not, but for a guy who spends a lot of time outside, maybe not as much as I should, but more than probably most, I learned a few things over the years that I just kind of do. The Farmer's Almanacs I usually find are pretty right. And I wish I would have made this prediction about 2 weeks ago, and the reason why is because of the new information that I got now, which is going to back what I'm saying. I'll explain it the way I'm saying it, so that you can understand how I see it and how I think of it and how I kind of predicted it. It's not an absolute, but it's a general guideline. Can't find any treetops here. But anyway, well, those treetops over there, you can't really see. They're kind of like a light brownish color on top. There's a few trees like that. It's not from heat. When it's hot and dry, the treetops will dry out, and you'll see that. That's usually from lack of water. But there's another thing that happens, and I'll show you one of my garden leaves, just to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So something that you can look around, and you'll probably see it in your area or whatever. And if you see this, it'll kind of give you an indication of what's kind of going on. But you'll probably see it more in the next maybe week or so from the making of this video. We're now in almost the end of August. But you see like the light color in the leaf here? Okay, number one, there's not enough nutrients. Look at that nice bean. Ooh, nice bean. I'm going to have to pick that. So